The next type of venues that we're going to be talking about, the next type, meaning the unconventional types of venues we're going to be talking about, are the outdoor pavilions. And my example is the Greek Theater out in Berkeley, California. The seating can vary from 3,000 to 15,000 for these types of outdoor seated pavilions, but that's my rough estimate. Amazing view. Before I say anything else, I just want to say how grateful I am to live in California. There are so many different locations I could go to concerts. Anywhere I go is beautiful. There's no drought anywhere. Don't go south. Do not go south. Don't go check down there. It looks like the Dust Bowl and Spoon states down there. Stay away. But just to close it off, man, like, not every spot is going to look like Berkeley with the sunset, you know, like this can definitely vary for the locations that you guys live. Architectural immersion. Now, team, you have to remember the pavilions are built to bounce sound around in the most architecturally superior way. Think of the Romans, the first to use the amphitheater. That's you. Are you immersed? I don't know if using amps would affect it, but I didn't hear any negative sound. Like it's not going to bounce too hard against the wall and make it sound muddy. You don't need to worry about anything like that. Free fixed seating varies. Moving on to the cons list. I don't know if it is a higher chance of free seating or fixed seating since I've only been to 2 pavilions. I have a 50-50 ratio right now, so just be sure to check the page. Just make sure before you buy. And you could see on the right, you just see, I mean, you've been watching this entire time. I've been going to so many different angles to shoot this footage. And this is the freedom that you have when you have free seating. And yeah, you could do this with fixed seating, but it's just not the same, because it's like, oh, I could just sit here and I could stay here. This is nice, you know, instead of, oh, okay, I'm recording, oh, I'm in somebody's way, oh, you know, so on and so forth. Depending on weather and time of year. Wow, the acoustics are so cool out here, dude. That's cool. I wish I could immerse myself. I really do. There's just one thing stopping me. It's 40 degrees outside. And you can go, Reagan, that's nothing to us Alaska folk. It's negative 32 degrees here year round. And I have never heard of a concert in Alaska. I've never heard of an artist coming out of Alaska either. For this video, I looked up who's come out of Alaska as an artist, and the only person that I recognize is Portugal the Man, who is counting one-hit wonders. And like, Alaska, I love you. Even if you grabbed your warmest clothes, you're stuck in your seat. All you can do is shimmy or stand up to stay warm. And like I said before, that can vary. The Greek was free seating. The Concord Pavilion was fixed seating. And I could say without a doubt, I had such a better time at the Greek Theater. Look for those free seating venues. Low mosh pit chance. Now, this one obviously is going to depend on how well the artist is, involving the crowd. Amine was really good, but you can see in this footage that not a lot of people were jumping to the song. He had really good visuals. He was keeping people involved, but people just weren't jumping to the music, and I was really upset about that, because I've just been listening to Amine for so long, and then I see him in concert, and it was just like, I still had a great time, bro. I have like at least at least an hour and a half of footage. And, I'm kind of glad that I'm putting used to it now. But you got, he had everybody, hopping a little bit. But Kenny Mason, bro, when he played stick, bro, we had a small mosh pit. So yeah, like I said, it really depends on the artist. If the seating is fixed in like the next categories I'm gonna cover, I'll just say them now: pavilion, stadium, or festival. Then the mosh pit in them will, without a doubt, cost an arm and a leg, and your car. Do not expect to get mosh pit tickets unless you are ready to pay a lot. It would be best to save your money for a mosh pit for an artist that you have already been wanting to see for years, or for artists that are doing that like one more show before retiring, whatever that means. Like I always hear them saying, they're like, oh yeah, I'm retiring, you guys are never gonna see me again, one last show. And then like 2 years later they're like, you know what, I just miss the music so much. And then their crowd's like, yeah. And then all the people that spent I don't know, $600 on mosh pit tickets, they're like, dude, what was that for? Or maybe that, it depends, maybe they had the experience of their life and they're like, you know what, this is past my time, I'm not going back anymore because I'm an unk. Okay, boo-hoo, boo-hoo. Okay, now we are going to talk about stadium and arena venues. And the smallest of the arenas being around 15,000 people, the max being 114,000 for a football stadium. The example that I'm using is the Golden One Center in Sacramento, California. That is around 17,600 people for their max capacity. Guys, gotta stop real quick again. My bias towards the stadium concerts really affected this one, but let me just stop it and say, this is it. This is the biggest venue that you could see one single artist perform. Think of The Weeknd. Think of Lil Wayne. Think of Taylor Swift. The biggest of the big are here. Better sound. Guys, I did the math, I did the numbers. If the stadium doesn't have a top, it's gonna sound great. If the stadium does have a top, it's gonna sound even better, with the addition of not having to worry about weather. Imagine the amphitheater with way more people and a top so you don't freeze. Temperature. Now guys, what did I just say? This one can vary, but when everyone is sitting together and when the artist has flamethrowers shooting out during the set, you are going to stay warm. Seats for break. If you are tired of standing, you have your very own, your one and only stadium seat. You can sit in it, you can stand up, and when you get bored or when you get your energy back, and when you get tired again, you could sit in it again. The option is there. Definitely a perk, since some venues don't have seats. You don't have to get caught sitting in the middle of the concert, but like I said, you should be sitting on the edges, or if you have a group of friends, have your friends stand around you in a circle while you take your break. It's the best. It's best to go to the corners or the back if you do need to sit down, and you can still watch the show. Pricing. Now, I wanted to go to a Lil Wayne concert at the Stockton Arena, but the lowest ticket is $67. And that's not a problem, right? Wrong. The nosebleeds of the nosebleeds are $67. Now, if I wanted to get some quality seats, I'd be dropping like $200, and that's not even the floor seats. You see where I'm going with this? This is what I was talking about in those earlier, the earlier part where the fixed and the free seating. This is what happens when there's fixed seating, and that's why I'm trying to nail it into your head, not to pay for fixed seating because it's terrible. And I love Lil Wayne. He was one of the first artists I listened to growing up, but the price of the ticket in contrast to how many artists are going to be performing makes it not worth it in my eyes. Who is Lil Kim? I do not know. That must have been before my time. Please do not hate me for that. And I could go on a list, I could go and listen to their music. I could go in and listen to their music leading up to the concert, like I was saying before, and enjoy them. And when they do perform, I'll have a good time. But I can't justify spending tickets that have a ballpark price to a festival when I'm only going to see one or two performers. At least at festivals, you can see at least five artists you want to see. At least. You see what I'm getting at? I hope so. Definitely fixed seating. And now you're probably thinking, Reagan, you have told three bad stories about small venues and medium venues, but you still prefer those over the stadiums. What gives? And I'll tell you a story. I'll tell you a story to explain why I have such a dislike for fixed seating, specifically in stadiums. Travis Scott concert. Tizo Touchdown was opening November 1st, 2023. The concert was held at the Oakland Arena. My friend Anthony brought his sister along, and she's in high school. That comes back into the story later. When we sat down, there's this couple in front of us. We really didn't think anything of it. There were couples everywhere, so why is this one different? So the concert starts, and we're all having a good time. And the lady keeps on looking back at us. I don't know what she was thinking. Like, maybe she thinks we're checking her out. Maybe she was trying to write that into the story or something, because we really weren't. I could kind of understand if she thought we looked sketchy, like we were in Oakland. Crazy stuff does happen in Oakland for sure. I completely understand. But we were dripped out that day, like nothing sketchy about it, bro. Like, we were looking clean. So I'm running through my ideas because there's no reason for her to be looking back as many times as she was. And every time she would look back, I would look away from the concert and stare at her because my mind is trying to figure out why she keeps on turning around. So that was during the Tizo set. There was a little break in between, and there was a little break in between Tizo's and Travis Scott's set, and she might have looked at us like once or twice, but not as much as during the set. So, me and Anthony didn't really mind it at all. So, the three of us, Anthony, his sister, and I, we talked about Tizo's set. We were talking about our favorite parts, and I was talking to Anthony like, yo, I didn't know he had a song with da-da-da, da-da-da, and then Travis Scott's set starts. I'm hyped. We're all hyped. And she goes right back to looking at us again. My stadium experience was not ruined because one person looked at me. Let me cook. So she starts staring at us. I'm trying to ignore her. And she starts dancing on her man. I'm thinking, I get it. You got a man. Please stop staring at me while you're doing that. It's making me very uncomfortable. Anthony's little sister is closer to you. Stop messing up her concert footage. But she keeps on going. She's doing the most. Then she starts full on making out with her man. And see, like, the first half of this story, I was mad for me and my compadres because she was acting weird for no reason. But now I'm mad for me, my compadres, and the guy. Now, I'm not going to be brash, or I'm not going to be too assuming right now, but I just have the strongest feeling that she was not doing that all the way going to the concert. I have a feeling she was not doing that on the car ride there. I have a feeling she only started doing that because she saw her man enjoying himself, listening to an artist he was a big fan of. She was jealous his attention was going to someone else that wasn't her, and she was set on doing something about it. And you know what? That sucks. It really sucks for this guy. I got a feeling he was planning on going to this concert alone, and then she was like, oh, we never do stuff together. And then they go. And then this story happens. Maybe she saw us seeing her not being paid attention to and wanted to prove it to us. I really don't know or care why she did it. I already made way too many speculations about this, but but that's a big reason why I don't like stadium seating, because you can't get out of situations like that without some type of hassle other than just walking away. Now, the people to our left, super chill guys. They had been at countless concerts. I remember they went to a Post Malone concert back when he was opening for yada yada yada. I don't remember exactly who, but they were not making out in front of a child, so they already won the favorite people for the concert award. Now, have I had positive stadium seat experiences? Yes, I have, and it started off as a bad one, but I just think it's funny looking back at it now. So I'm in the nosebleeds of the nosebleeds, very back of the Golden One Center while Tyler the Creator is performing. And this is during the Call Me If You Get Lost tour. Very fun, you know. I'm pretty sure Tizo opened for him. Yeah, he did. Kaliuchis, Don't Hate Me for Messing Up the Name, Vince Staples, and Tizo Touchdown all opened for Tyler the Creator. And you know, they were all off topic, but it was good pricing, man. It was like $90 or something like that for 4 artists, man. Like, what a steal. So I'm the highest in the room, both figuratively and literally. And then all of a sudden, Tyler the Creator himself, from the ground floor, from his yacht, points up directly at me, my high ass, and goes, "I haven't seen any motherfuckers die up there yet." And I had a panic attack, bro. I was freaking out, dude. I thought I was gonna die. So in the end, everything was all right. I didn't die. Nothing happened to me except for a good concert experience. And I could say that for myself. I could say that for the the friend that I went with, and I could say that for my sister, even though we were all in the nosebleeds. And the nosebleeds are not always a bad thing. Okay? They're not as cool as seeing the artist up close, but they still can be a good time. You can still have a good time. No room to mosh. Guys, there's no room to mosh, let alone dance. You are going to be confined to a very small space. And the only thing that could change that fact is if you bring a big old group and you have a full row that you paid for, and then all of you guys can do the wave all by yourself. And and then after that, you have like a little bit more wiggle room. It's a win-win, baby. Festival venues. Okay, so these are the biggest concerts that you will be attending. Those and the stadium ones are going to be clashing. They vary from like 20K up. I don't even like it could be huge. I know that in Europe there was like a $40,000, what am I saying? There was a 40,000 person single concert for Travis Scott, and they played Fiend like however many times. It was great. It was great. I know Kanye and Jay-Z, when they went to Paris, they played that song a lot. So my venue example is Head in the Clouds from 21 and 2022. Travis Scott caused the equivalent to a 1.3 magnitude earthquake by playing Fiend 12 times while in Rome. The reason I say Head in the Clouds and not the Rose Bowl is because that was the stadium that they had advertised. But when I got there, we were not in the stadium. I wasn't expecting to be in the stadium, but I was just like a little confused. They should have just said outside the Rose Bowl, but it's cool, whatever. But that one was around 32,000 people. But the venues can be smaller and definitely will be bigger than that. So to start off with the pros, we're going to start with set list of artists. Now you can finally see all of those artists that you have been dying to see all in the same day. Rolling Loud is a great example. There are a few EDM festivals like EDC2. The first year I got to see all the artists I wanted to see when I went to Head in the Clouds. I got to see Joji, I got to see Nicki, I got to see Rich Brian, Audrey Nuna, Sweetie was there. It was awesome. And there were artists that I didn't know too much about, but my friend Victor introduced me to Keshi. He introduced me to Keshi, and he put me on, on some other special guests, Alinium, which I didn't know who was from the Bay Area, but now, I listen to his music every now and then, but electric isn't really my style. But that's another pro. Now, the next year they brought Teriyaki Boys out. They were the ones, for the people that don't know, who made Tokyo Drift. And, they were throwing shirts in the crowd, and I actually got one. I gave it to my friend Victor, and it was sick. Yeah, he was definitely the bigger fan. So he, bro, he reps it, bro. He reps it, and I'm really happy for him too. And I was gonna tell a story about Tokyo Drift and the Teriyaki Boys, but I'm a not say that right now, bro, because like I don't want it to bite me in the butt or anything. It was just some stuff that I didn't know about the song, but now I do. So I'll leave it at that, and we'll go on to the next thing, I guess. Special guests. I would say that the chance of a special guest coming to a festival has the highest probability compared to all of the other venues on this list. It's rare to get a special guest. Unless you live in the Bay and you go to a small or medium venue, maybe even a large. Large venues usually have a bit more structure, but I'm telling you, a surprise guest can happen anywhere. So that last slide that you had just seen, I went to a Leon Thomas concert, aka Andre from Victorious, aka Tyrone from Backyardians. He brought out Lil Russell. And I thought it was just some dude doing Lil Russell songs. I thought that was kind of weird, but nah, it was him, bro. I was surprised. Now, the last clip that you saw just then, that was Ben Gibbard, and he was featured in a Toro y Moi song called Hollywood. And that last one, if you didn't notice the giant Teriyaki Boys sign, that was Teriyaki Boys, and they put on a show. I had such a great time. Price. All right, so the price is going to be an arm and a leg and a card, just like I've been saying this entire time. But I am for the price to artist ratio on this side of the curve. You are definitely going to get your money's worth when making a festival ticket purchase. Now, the cons, we have forced to prioritize. Now, what do I mean by forced to prioritize? So, a few months before the festival actually happens, you'll see the set list, and the set list will be like the main headliners up at the very top in huge letters, and then there will be like the smaller artists, or the artists that aren't headliners at the bottom. And the less popular they are, the smaller it'll look, the more it'll look like Willy Wonka's contract in the Gene Wilder movie. Now, the size of the artist's name on the set list page doesn't really matter, like it's all subjective. But when you get there, you're gonna have to prioritize certain artists over another. Two of your favorite artists could be playing at the exact same time on the polar opposite sides of the venue. Now, for the people that want to know where their priorities lie, I recommend setting up an ABC tier list for the artists that you want to see. A being the most important, and absolute top priority that you absolutely need to see, and B, C all the way down to least important that you could just be like, I could live without seeing Russ. So you might not be able to see each and every artist that you want to see, and you might not be able to get as close as you're hoping because you're clashing with 20,000 people at least to get as close as you possibly can. And like that can't happen every single time, man. There's gonna be people that like certain artists more than you. So, and that's why I say you gotta set out that tier list, so then you know where your priorities lie. So to stay from getting stuck in a crowd, put your priorities in check. More walking, less dancing. Since there's so much going on at a festival, what they will do to keep the performers from muddying each other's sounds is spreading out the stages, and like really far too, man. Like they really don't want any mud anywhere. But aside from the stages, there's also like food stands and stuff like that you can go to. If there is one stage, like that's not an issue. But when there's like multiple, I highly recommend bringing some nice comfy shoes. And you're gonna mess up the fit. You're gonna mess up the fit if they don't look good. But would you rather look all right and feel all right, or would you rather look good and feel bummy? There's no in between, so you gotta make a decision. Also, just a little side note, and this goes for every single venue that you are going to be going to. When you go to a concert, expect your feet to be stepped on. Okay, you can wear those crisp white Air Force Ones, but don't expect them to be crispy by the end of the night, okay? Here's a little trick that I use that will save your feet from getting stepped on. Wear steel toes. You wear a steel toe, you get some good insoles for high movement, and you're set. It will take away from the fit, unless you're opium and you're wearing like an all black fit, but you won't have to worry about getting stomped out. Wear steel toes. This is my PSA. And only select locations. The big festivals are in bigger spots. Think Miami, think Los Angeles, think Las Vegas, Bay Area, those types of locations. If you don't live in the area, you are not only spending money on the tickets, you are spending money on a hotel or Airbnb, rental car if it's that far away, plane tickets, all that type of stuff. There's a lot more money going into a festival trip than just the ticket. Make sure you budget well for the trip, set aside money for the merch. $200 is more than enough. More on merch in the merch episode, coming soon. This grouping of events, for the most part, will be the only venue in that area. Like I said before, I went to a concert at the Greek Theater for Toro y Moi. What was special about this concert was that Amine and Kenny Mason were performing. And I don't think any other shows on tour got those special guests. They made it their joint event while it was during Toro y Moi's tour. Some artists will only have one single show for the entirety of the US, which is heinous. The Weeknd is an example of this. I don't know why he likes Santa Clara and LA so much. I'm not complaining because I'm a Cali boy myself. But every time he drops an album, I feel like he doesn't even go on tour. He only pulls up to Santa Clara and Los Angeles. There is one more type of venue that I saved, the best for last. I hope you guys like these types of venues. Now, the final venues that we're going to be talking about are the unconventional venues. I'm talking about Denny's. I'm talking about bars, mountain mics. I'm talking about skate parks, all that jazz, man. If you see some people, roll the clip. These usually vary from like 20 people up to 100, maybe even 150 if you're really pushing it. But I can't imagine 150 people showing up to a Mountain Mike's or a Denny's. Definitely, quite possibly a skate park. But now, let me put the pros and cons for both. Now that you see all of the pros and cons, let's go through them, starting with local groups. Unless you live in a city with big artists and they're trying to throw an event up for nostalgia, your local spots will have local groups. And the other day, I was given the opportunity to spend some time with my friend's group, Aggravated Assault. They were performing out in Livermore at a bar, and I was going just for fun, but I also decided to bring my camera and take pictures. I had a really good time. And even if you don't really like the genre that your friends are performing in, I still highly recommend going and supporting them because I know that it means a lot to them. They like seeing some familiar faces, and like my friends, like they don't crack under pressure. But seeing your friends in the crowd is such a mental boost. It's like, hey, you know what? Like, even though they don't like the music, they're still coming out to support me, man. And they're going to remember that. Cheap tickets. In the early stages of a musician's career, they're looking more for exposure. Like, the money's definitely a bonus, but they're just looking for people to, grow an audience with, to build a community. So for the most part, the tickets will be free. And if they're not free, they're gonna be super cheap, like $20 tops. And like what's stopping you from dropping $20, bro? Bring a date, bring a friend. Like, honestly, just go by yourself, man. Just go and enjoy some music for a couple of hours. Unpredictable outcome. Now, the best part about these unconventional venues is that there are no safety regulations, yo. So that means that anything can happen, bro. There was a story that the drummer for that band Aggravated Assault, Kevin, he was telling me that at a Mountain Mike's, somebody got up into the rafters and was swinging around, man. Like I said, anything can happen at these types of shows. So please make sure that you're being safe and respectful. So let me explain what's happening in these following clips. Back in 2019, this was when all of those artists were passing away one way or another. There were drug overdoses. Some people were getting run up on. And this is like, I'm talking about like Lil Peep, XXX, like all of them. And I think this was around the time. No. It was right before Kobe Bryant died too. But we didn't know about that. So we're celebrating. This wasn't a concert, bro. This was a celebration of life. And as you can see, we're having a great time. We filled up the bathroom and we got all the boys in my school there. And now, did we get kicked out of the bathroom? Eventually. But did any of us get in trouble? No. Like I said, we're being safe and we're being respectful. Okay, that was a bad cut, but you get what I mean. Like, everybody, we weren't trashing the bathroom. We weren't breaking the mirrors and shutting out the lights and anything like that. We're just being respectful. And this has got to be one of my favorite mosh pits of all time. And possible deals and discounts with the local stores. There may be a promotion the spot has for the people attending the event, like cheaper beers, 2-for-1 deals, stuff like that. The concert should be good for all parties involved, the performers, the hosts, and the crowd. Moving on to cons, we have limited parking. If you thought that the small venues parking was bad, try and park in a Little Caesars parking lot, man. Try and park at a skate park. The skate park, okay, you know what? The skate park wouldn't be that bad, you know, because they prepare for this type of stuff. You know, like, you know, a skate park isn't just a skate park for the most part. You know, sometimes there's like a soccer field or some type of basketball court around, or some type of community center. But for the ones that aren't skate parks, it's gonna be terrible. The view of artists will vary. I attended a show where I think it was 3 or 4 bands performed inside of somebody's house. And, you know, it was a great set, but there was a wall blocking the band the entire time. I couldn't see. There was a physical division between the band and the crowd. I had to show full screen so you guys could fully see what I mean. I gotta commend the band for that. I'd not been to a concert in a single family house before, and notice how there's no kind of lack of hearing. You will be able to hear everything a little too clearly. But as you can see in this video right here, this is the ending of Under Ego's set at the skate park, and you know that you can see everything. There's nothing wrong with this view at all. So like I said, it can really vary. Now this is what I call a false con. The more outlandish the place that you're watching the performance, the more you get to hype it up. Like, there's absolutely nothing wrong with being in a single family home, bro. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. That's hilarious. The only downside is that you can't fit more people into the single family home. So to finish this part off, I gotta say, wherever your single family home is, just make sure that you're having fun. If you're bringing friends, make sure they're having a blast too, and just have a good old time. And once again, unpredictable outcome. Guys, do I even need another example? Let's just go right back to that Mountain Mike story. Hanging from the ceiling, if he fell, that'd be a quick lawsuit they could sue the band, they could sue the people that were hosting, and if he landed on someone who wasn't ready to catch him, that's even worse. They ended up yelling at him to get down, but just make sure that the unpredictable events going on at these non-OSHA approved venues are positive ones. Okay? But thank you for watching. Those were all the different types of concert venues. I hope you enjoyed. I hate to say this, but there is no best concert. For me personally, my favorite are the big venues, the Bill Graham Civic Auditorium. Those are near and dear to my heart. I truly do love those. Who knows? You could have just like a huge passion for stadium concerts. I will never understand it, but that could be your preference. But I encourage you guys to go out and check them out for yourself. The next video in this series is going to be, should you go to a concert alone? And that one's going to be a lot shorter, maybe like a 5-minute video tops. But I'm very excited for you guys to see it. So thank you for watching. Have a good one.